delivers about 190,000 pounds of thrust at sea level, which gives Falcon 9 a combined 1.7 million pounds of thrust. After stage separation, stage 1, which we also call the booster, will return back to Earth for recovery and reuse on a future mission, which using a combination of Merlin sea level engines and the 4 titanium grid fins located near the top of the booster, which will guide the vehicle during its re-entry and landing. The Falcon 9 first stage is also equipped with 4 landing legs that deploy just before landing and allow for vertical touchdown on a drone ship or landing pad. For today's mission, we'll be attempting to land this booster on our drone ship, Of Course I Still Love You, which is currently stationed in the Pacific Ocean, which you can see there on your screen. Both the weather and the vehicle...
Falcon 9 tanks are pressing for Strombeck retract.
Again, some good callouts there. Both the weather and the vehicle continue to look good for today's launch out of Vandenberg Space Force Base in California. And as you heard that call out, we are preparing for Strombeck retract. That is also known as the transporter erector, TE. The transporter
retract has started.
Good call out there. TE is now going to begin to retract away from the vehicle. That's that large trusted structure, which you can see there on your screen to the right of Falcon 9 or just behind Falcon 9. You can see the clamp arms just below the fairing are opening up. Once those are fully opened, then that TE can begin to recline away from the vehicle. And you can see that the clamp arms are fully open and that TE is starting to move away. It's very slow and slight, but it's just enough to help clear the way for Falcon 9 as it lifts off. Now the first stage is connected to a launch mount at the base of the TE, but the TE is hinged and will retract away even further in preparation for launch at T0. The TE is designed to transport, raise, and support Falcon 9 at the launch pad, and it's also equipped with umbilicals or flexible lines that are used to route the vehicle's fluids, power, and telemetry from the ground systems to the rocket and payload until Falcon 9 switches to internal power and clears the pad. And you can see on your screen that umbilical connecting from the TE to the vehicle. At liftoff, that will disconnect.
Stage 1 LOX load is complete.
And good call out there. Stage 1 LOX load is now complete. Stage 2 LOX load will complete at the T-2 minute mark. And again, we are still loading liquid oxygen on the second stage, but once that concludes at the T-2 minute mark, that will conclude propellant loading for Falcon 9. And just under 20 seconds away from liquid oxygen loading completion on stage 2. Once that concludes, we will begin to vent out those propellant lines. And you may see a few more white clouds coming when that happens. Just waiting for that call out for liquid oxygen loading on second stage to be completed.
Stage 2 LOX load is complete.
And there's that call out that we were waiting for. Now that liquid oxygen loading is complete on the second stage, again, this concludes propellant loading on Falcon 9. And you can hear and see that those white clouds on your screen coming from the TE. That is us venting out the propellant lines. That really cold liquid oxygen gas coming in contact with the warmer ambient air is what's causing that condensation that you see there on your screen.
Falcon 9 is in startup.
Great call out. Falcon 9 is in startup. The internal flight computers have now taken control over the countdown. Just waiting for the final go from the launch director.
SpaceX launch director, go for launch.
And great news, we are go for launch. Let's listen and watch as Falcon 9 takes the NRO payload into space.
T minus 30 seconds. T minus 15. T minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
T plus 35 seconds into launch, and Falcon 9 has successfully lifted off from Space Launch Complex 4E at Vandenberg Space Force Base in California.
Nominal power and telemetry.
Good calls on ascent. Coming up next, the vehicle will be passing through max Q in a few seconds here. This is the point of
Vehicle is supersonic.
This is the point where the vehicle experiences the greatest amount of aerodynamic pressure.
Max Q.
And great call out there. Now the vehicle has passed through that highest amount of structural load on the vehicle. Now coming up next, we will have a few events happening very quickly in succession. That'll be MECO, stage separation, and SES-1. MECO is main engine cutoff, and that's where all 9 of those Merlin 1D engines that you see burning bright on the screen, those 9 engines will shut down. That helps slow the vehicle down in preparation for stage separation. Stage separation is where the first stage and second stage separate, and the first stage will continue to make its way back down to Earth as the second stage continues with the payload to take it to its targeted drop-off orbit. And we are coming up on MECO stage separation and SES-1. SES-1 is second stage engine startup 1. That's where we'll light that MVAC engine on the second stage. And as a reminder, we will not have any views of stage 2 or the payload at the request of our customer.
Main engine cut off.
Stage separation confirmed.
And back ignition.
Beautiful views. We had MECO, stage separation, as well as the ignition of the second stage engine. And now that first stage vehicle is making its way back down to Earth, and a great view there with the grid fins deploying. And you can see that the telemetry of stage 1, it has not yet reached its apogee, but once it does, it will begin to make its way back down to Earth
Fairing separation confirmed.
For landing. And good call out there that we had confirmation of fairing separation. We will be attempting to retrieve the fairing halves today once they fall back down to Earth with our recovery vessel Go Beyond in the Pacific Ocean. Today's fairings are flying for their 16th and 7th times today. And these views are so great. You're looking at a view from the first stage vehicle And relative to Earth, it looks very slow and calm, but the vehicle is moving very quickly. You can see the speed in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen there. And you can see that the altitude has stopped increasing. We've just about reached apogee, and now the vehicle should begin to make its way back down to Earth. Again, attempting our landing today on, of course, I Still Love You, our drone ship in the Pacific Ocean. Now we're just about a minute away from the next event for the first stage. That will be the entry burn. The entry burn is where we will reignite 3 of those Merlin M1D engines. This helps slow the vehicle down as it's re-entering the Earth's atmosphere. And that burn should last about 20 seconds long for this mission today. And some cool views here. This is from the first stage looking forward towards the top of the vehicle. And this is inside of the inner stage section of Falcon 9. Just under 30 seconds away from that entry burn. Such great views here today. Again, we are coming up on the entry burn for the first stage vehicle. You can see the altitude decreasing, and we'll reignite those engines to help slow the vehicle down even more.
Stage 1 entry burn startup.
And good call out there, and you can visually see that the engines have ignited. Again, this burn will last about 20 seconds.
Stage 1 entry burn shutdown.
And good call out there, as well as visually seeing that the engines have shut down. That concludes the entry burn for this first stage's journey back to Earth. The next event will be in just under a minute from now.
FTS is saved.
In just under a minute from now, we will ignite the center engine on the vehicle for the landing burn. The landing burn will last about 15 seconds long, and that helps slow the vehicle just in time to touch down again on a drone ship. Of course, I Still Love You, currently in the Pacific Ocean. And we do only use one single engine for that landing burn.
Stage 1 transonic.
Stage 2 FTS is saved.
Each of these engines has 190,000 pounds of thrust, again, just enough to slow down the vehicle. We are currently using the drag from the atmosphere to help slow down the vehicle, and you can see the speed dropping, again, the bottom left hand of your screen, that it's drastically dropping as we're getting closer and closer to Earth on the first stage.
Stage 2 is in terminal guidance.
Stage 1 landing burn.
We have that call out. Landing burn has begun. Let's watch as Falcon 9 touches down. And of course, I Still Love You.
Landing leg deploy. Stage 1 landing confirmed.
And great views there. Falcon 9 has touched down on, of course, I Still Love You. This was the 21st launch and landing for this booster. This landing marks SpaceX's 358th recovery of an orbital class rocket, including the first stage landings for Falcon 9 and Falcon Heavy. Today's mission marks SpaceX's 396th overall mission to date and 101st mission of 2024. Now, as a reminder, we will not be showing any stage 2 or deployment views at the request of our customer. So with that landing of the Falcon 9 booster, we'll be bringing today's webcast to a close. Thank you to the National Reconnaissance Office for entrusting us with today's mission. If you're interested in more launch coverage, be sure to check spacex.com/launches and follow @SpaceX on X for the most up-to-date information. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you again soon.